want you guys to tell Mary Ann that I was here early.
Is your cousin coming? Oh, okay.
Could Ms. Robb have it noted that she was here
Yes, I
early?
want it noted that I was here early. Make sure Mary Ann knows that I was here and the
Now,
door
what clock is
opened.
it? I got 9 o'clock, that clock up there says 9 o'clock.
That's a D57.
8:57.
Morning, Stace.
Good morning. How are you? Commissioner Hall was fooled by our presentation.
Was he fooled? He didn't get the win. He didn't get the,
He didn't.
oh, that's unfortunate. He didn't get the prize either.
Yeah, she may not take him to the next show.
She may not. She may opt to take someone else. Honeymoon will be over by then. Helped over.
What's there today?
Maybe quickly. Machine doesn't work. Got struck by lightning. Long time ago. Sent her buddy a card. She doesn't care because having people say, oh, sorry. Too bad.
What do you got, Chairman?
We're good. Ask everyone to please rise for the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll call meeting to order.
Motion approved minutes the last meeting.
Second that. Questions or comments?
I have one question, and I don't know when this next salary board meeting is gonna be held, but on page 2, it says, public comment, motion to close the commissioners meeting and open a salary board meeting. And then on page 3, second commissioner warrant, motion carried. And then the meeting was adjourned. Did anything happen in the salary board meeting?
Yeah, but that'll be on the salary board minutes. That's a separate meeting. So when they approve the salary board minutes at the next salary board meeting, that's where that'll be contained.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
So
One
good.
other thing, Connie, we got present, all three of us today on the agenda.
Yeah.
Right, I
Let's
took
make a
that.
motion to correct the agenda and take Mary Ann on.
All right, let's say that.
Okay, you, Chairman.
All right, item 5, make a motion to approve. Item 5, is Denise there? Denise is not here. Denise Sellers is being recognized today for 10 years with the county, for her service to our county. We appreciate her services.
Motion to approve item number 6 is listed on the agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, I'll second that, to approve the cash disbursement, electronic transfers. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Item 7.
Motion to approve item number 7 is listed on the agenda.
And I'll second that. Motion to approve item 7, which is seminar request. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
Motion to approve item number 8 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that. Motion to approve item 8 on the agenda by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
Motion to approve item number 9 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that. Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco to approve item 9, second by Commissioner Hall. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
Motion to approve item number 10 is listed on the agenda.
Second that. Motion to approve item 10 by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall. Questions or comments? Yes.
Have we determined yet where there was a, between you, this body, and the Economic Development Board, who I guess that was that the ones that gave Cabot the award for Business of the Year last year?
Mhm.
So I know there was a question arisen, which we haven't got an answer to. One body says they didn't do it, they just got the information and did whatever, the other body says not, and it's just because it's come up here, I'm just asking a question. We can't figure out who actually gave them that award, and so our problem with it is that we don't mind money coming into the hospital, we just don't wanna make sure we don't owe them something for it, including allegiance, or we have to wear blindfold, so, do we ever resolve that? Cause I've missed a couple meetings where we found out whether you guys voted to give them that, or the board did, because the board says they didn't, and you guys said you didn't.
We didn't vote to give it to them, that was the board that gave it to them.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 11.
Motion to approve item number 11 is listed on the agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall to approve item 11 on the agenda. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
Motion to approve item number 12 is listed on the agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Jean Greco, second by Commissioner Hall to approve item 12 on the agenda. Questions or comments? Yes.
These fit the Act 13 funds allocation that you're allowed to use?
Yes.
Just asking, okay. I'm hoping, this will be with when I do my public comment, I'm hoping we can figure out how to spend some of the Act 13 funds in another venture, but I'll bring it up when we do public comment, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, at this time, no public comment.
Monday night, we had the director of Frac Nation here, Phelim McAleer. He made a movie that is called Frac Nation. And I went to it, it's kind of interesting. He got interviewed last year when he was gonna make it, and he said he's definitely covering the contamination. We're featuring both sides. All this, there's 4 quotes of him saying that it's gonna be balanced, it's a joke. There's a 77-minute movie, not 1 minute on the negatives. So before I went there to talk to him, I actually pulled up some documents to show things, and I don't know, this is in public records, you guys won't look at it. But there's I never looked at the original consent order of what happened in Cabot, because his movie says nothing ever happened. And he came here and filmed, like half the movie is from either Ron White, a local resident, or the Carter Road people or whatever. I'm gonna read you very quickly. Cabot had caused or allowed the unpermitted discharge of natural gas, a polluting substance, into the groundwater, which constitutes the water of the Commonwealth, as that the term is defined in 35 PS 691.1. As a guy who likes the law, I did 691.135, I recommend everybody look at it. Very quickly, there's one spot, waters of the Commonwealth. I didn't know this until I read this. Shall be construed to include any and all rivers, streams, creeks, rivulets, impoundments, ditches, watercourses, storm sewers, lakes, dammed water, ponds, springs, and all other bodies, channels, and conveyance of surface and underground water, or parts thereof, whether natural or artificial. That I called the DEP. A swimming pool is water of the Commonwealth. Your well water is water of the Commonwealth that comes out of your private well. So once again, I'm wondering why nothing that's happening here in the county, as far as contamination with 3 families right down the road living on water buffaloes, that the state and the county is not involved in that. This is waters of the Commonwealth. Last time I checked, the county has to obey by the laws of the Commonwealth. We're letting the DP be in charge, but they've left people hanging for 16 months without an answer down there. I would think the county could get involved. Also, we did a really good thing with the Second Amendment last time, 2 meetings ago. But the Pennsylvania Constitution is quite clear in Article 1, Section 27 of our protections of our clean air and pure water. It's very directly clear. I'm wondering why we would pass something, which I totally agree with, about the protection of my firearms, but I don't drink my guns, and I don't breathe my guns, and I don't eat food from my guns, the soil. So I would hope that you guys can take some Act 13 money, because there's one thing I found out. This never made it to court. They got gag ordered, they signed non-disclosure agreements. And I'll ask Mike, because you're an attorney, Mike, what if a grand jury was called by Susquehanna County for only county residents that have had problems with the gas industry, that are actually living on water buffaloes, had contamination, most forced into non-disclosures, if we called a grand jury in this courtroom, can I, if I sign a gag order, speak and tell the truth of what happened, and I'm not under the gag order?
We don't have a grand jury.
Well, or any kind of an inquiry that would allow me to say those words in a forum, of a court forum, where I was asked to come and give testimony.
You were subpoenaed.
On an investigation.
You would have to.
If an investigation happened in the county, even if I sign an order with somebody under I'm gonna give you a couple $100,000 to shut up, which is what happened down in Dimick, I could speak and I would not be held underneath that gag order.
Because
correct?
what the Greg order said.
Got it.
would be some way.
Okay, so once again, I brought up last time, they're gonna drill 4 wells within 3,500 feet of your lake. Good luck. If the county's not involved now, they better get. Because if anything happens at that lake, I'm not saying it's going to, if any problem happens, including even methane, your building is condemned if the water in that lake is not usable for public consumption. This building's condemned, the school building is condemned, everybody's condemned. I'm shocked and appalled that we would let people from a foreign country come in here and try to convince us there's no problems when we all know there's problems. And I'm not against this, you know that. I'm not against the industry. I have a gas lease and all that. I'm just against looking the other way when people have problems, especially when they're residents and taxpayers of this county. And I, for one, do not want anything to happen to that lake. But I'm gonna laugh my head off if something happens and everybody here has their properties condemned and their businesses closed because we refuse to acknowledge the fact that a bad actor, Cabot, has ruined water not only in Dimick, but in Lennox for people. It's documented by the DEP, and we're gonna let them come and drill within 3,500 feet of your water source. That is what I call generational suicide. Yeah, generational suicide. Please look into this and find out why they want to drill that close and the track record, and maybe we need to get to the bottom of it before we let them drill holes. Thank you very much.
Any other public comment? Vera?
Yes, I'd like to know from Mike, is there any kind of rules of conduct that you have written for us for these meetings? Because Alan tends to make the decision whether anybody can speak or not. And a couple of meetings ago, I was going to make a third comment, and he stopped me from speaking, saying it was enough, and then called the sheriff.
Well, he's the chairman, so he runs the meeting.
So-
It's his discretion, within the Robert's Rules of Order that we go by, he can do that as chairman.
Now, is there any kind of a law that that you have to post the rules of conduct so we know what it is when people come in here? I go to other meetings, and they have the rules of conduct posted. So I'm asking for a posting of the rules, whether you can have a limit to how many comments, how long you can speak, who can speak, so people know what it is. Are you able to do that?
And the answer to that question is yes.
And are you willing?
Can't set the limit on how long you can speak.
And how about how many?
Yeah.
And can you
Whether we
also?
have a written policy or not, I don't know.
Well, can you have a written policy and post it?
Okay.
And can you have a written policy and post it? And also, how many comments you can have, because Alan limited me on the number of comments I could have. It wasn't even timing. I was on my third comment.
As the chairman?
Well, that's not true, Vera. The issue was that you were out of order, that you were trying to speak over somebody else that was trying to speak. You had finished a comment, somebody else was being called for. You were asked to stop speaking and to wait. You refused. You kept continuing to speak, and that's when the sheriff was called. So let's make sure we have the facts correct.
Well, that's your presentation of it. I asked to speak, and you stopped me from speaking right from the beginning. So that's your story, and it's totally different than mine.
Any other comments? Yes.
Well, two, okay. One is, next week is Rural Road Safety Week, so Farm Bureau is going to be doing different things to educate the public on the safety triangle that you see on the back of farm equipment. Okay, and then the other thing is a personal thing. Maybe somebody could take a look at those front stairs that lead to the porch to 88 Chenango Street, the extension building there in Conservation. Because there's like 2 really small steps that are just about this high. And the second one's not the big problem. The first one is, I trip over that a lot.
Because it's too low or too high?
It's too, you don't notice it. You're walking down the sidewalk and you notice the second one. And I keep forgetting it's only this high. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe it could be leveled out or something, in part of the sidewalk.
motion to adjourn?
Vera?
Yes, I'd like to ask also, since you have Act 13 monies, can you spend some money now that we have another compressor station finished in Liberty Township on Route 29? I'm asking for Act 13 monies to be spent on a noise meter. They're not expensive, they're a couple of $100 or less, so that you can test that station now that it's finished to the house. You have to go to the house that's 400 feet away and see if it's within the 55 decibel range and if it passes. And you don't even have a noise meter. So I'm asking for that to be purchased and for you to test that site, because it may be over the 55 decibel level. Are you willing to do that?
Any other comment?
Is there any way that we can find what Act 13 monies actually cover?
Yeah, absolutely, there's a list, there's 13 items,
Okay,
it's page and a half.
where would it be
You can
available?
go right to the state website, it's on there.
I had it, I'd be happy to make you a copy, I obviously don't have it with me, but yeah, there is a list that says what.
Now, these Act 13 monies are the impact fees?
Yes,
Right.
Okay, so the question I have too is, from a report I heard on the radio the other day, $200 million are the impact fees for this year
Mhm.
for Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
And am I mistaken in understanding that 40% of those fees are for Susquehanna, Bradford, Wayne, Wyoming, and the rest of it, this other 60% goes to the other parts of the state? Is that correct?
No, that's not correct. The 40%, the top 60% goes to the top agencies, DEP, Fish and Wildlife, there's like 6 or 8 of them that are
there's a
there.
list.
Fish and
there.
boat.
Yeah,
Fish and
soil,
boat, but there's also something with
Conservation.
wildlife now,
Yeah.
conservation. But then the bottom 40% gets split to all the counties and all the boroughs and municipalities and townships
of the state.
of the state. And depending on how many, and it's broken down based on number of wells and the formula, and I'd have to pull it out to show the exact formula. But like last year, I know Philadelphia got some huge amount of money.
Why? That's my next.
Oh, I agree, I had the same problem, it's the way the formula's written, it's the way that the legislators created the formula.
I think, is that called the Marcellus Shell Legacy Fund?
No, the legacy
No,
fund
it's
is different, the legacy
Okay.
fund is part of the top 60%.
Okay.
So part of that comes back and can be used for things like housing, can be used for like greenways and things like that. So, but yeah, I agree, the whole problem with it is the structure of it and the way the money's divided back and how much actually comes back to our counties and our local municipalities. And, there's a lot of chunk of money that stays with the bigger areas because of population and everything else.
Why would they be given based on population when the impact, just to use the phrase, the impact is occurring here? We're experiencing the pain and they're experiencing the gain.
Exactly. Philadelphia's getting a lower price of gas, plus they're getting impact fees.
And they tell us, by the way, because we're on webinars that go throughout the state several times a week, that we're doing fine up here. Our roads are great, everything's great. We're all millionaires, by the way. And they're telling us that we should just.
Right, one thing we are looking at right now with the, which we could possibly use the Act 13 money, is we are looking at trying to extend the water line out of Montrose down at least to the jail, at least do that leg down through there. We're looking also for grants from H2O and other things to try and make that happen, so right now we're getting pricing on that.
Could you give me the website that I could go to get all that information?
I don't know what the website is. I
If you
just
go
have a
right
hard-
to the, if you
hard
go right
copy.
to the state's website, pa.gov,
Mm-hmm.
there's a link right on there that you can get to it.
Okay.
And if you can't, let me know, and I got it in my office, I'll get it printed out for you.
Real quick, 5 compressor stations in Forest Lake alone. That's why I think would be reasonable to have a noise meter to meet the law, and maybe even ask the companies to do an actual real-time air monitoring. But in what you just said, running the line out, are you gonna get sued by the borough of Montrose again like Todd Chamberlain threatened when they wanted to run the water line? They flipped out because, that there was, their precious resource was gonna go out for a couple of people to solve a problem. So everyone threatened they're gonna sue everybody.
Our need is to supply the jail with water.
and it would have been met by that water line was, if it was run, not paid for by anybody local, the state put the money up. I never understood it. It would have benefited a lot of people, but they picked on just the dozen it was gonna meet the need for, but anybody could have tapped in, and it's not Montrose's business. They don't own the water there. Pennsylvania American Water has engineers to figure out where they have the water, so I find it very interesting. And I'd love to have the water line extended out to the jail, but if we're gonna do that, why don't we just I can get the money, I'll get the money back, it's still sitting there, they gave the money, all they have to do is reappoint it, they can get the money to run it right back out and fix the issue, so there would be no demic issue if the water was taken out of those homes, and the jail would have already had water, and this project would have been done a year ago, a year and a half ago, so.
Bruce?
You never really answered the question as to whether you would look into the couple of $100 for a noise meter. Would the commissioners even consider looking into it? I lived in a flight path to Kennedy for a good part of my life. When we moved from one to another, we were still in that flight path. I mean, this is God's country, or used to be. For $200, you could find out whether they're snookering you or not. And I just think it's a prudent move. It's not real money. Will you look into it? Or, I mean, I think it's a no-brainer. One of the impacts, among others, is the noise level. And that's all I have to say on that. Thank you.
Very, Mark?
Yes, I'd like to say also, since you're considering a water line to the jail, I'm requesting, encouraging that you extend the line and, like Craig says, ask for the funding that is in our state for the line to go all the way to Dimmock, because there's still people, and I can give you the names of people who are water filters, and they're not drinking their water, they're getting bottled water from Cabot as part of settlements, they're still not drinking their water. We need water in Dimmock and probably other towns along the way, so if people want to hook into it, and I'd like it only to be a voluntary hook-in, so that if they want to use their water wells, they can, and they don't have to be forced to be hooked into it, because that's one of the complaints that people have. They don't want to be forced. But we need a water line all the way up to Dimmock and Springville.
Thank you. You have another comment?
Yeah, one more comment. I heard at the Forest Lake Township meeting that Cabot would be putting in, to be going full blast to complete every well on their schedule by the end of 2013. Well, that's what we heard. That's what I heard. I'm just quoting what I heard, what was said. We need to look into whether it's prudent to continue going down this path, and I know all the leases are all signed and all that, because none of this is really coming to Susquehanna County, nor the country. Almost all of our precious resources are being shipped to Europe and to China and to Russia and wherever, but it's not staying here. And down the road, are we going to become the Saudi Arabia for Europe, for anywhere but the United States? The benefits from this gas industry are not really benefiting the United States. And we're right in the center of it. And one day, when all the gas dries up, and I don't believe 60 years for the Northeast, we're going to be sitting on perhaps a wasteland, perhaps not, but the resources that are ours are going to be gone. So I think that's a long-term question you should think about.
And I can provide you guys with documents, that's 20 liquefied natural gas plants, proposals, or basically requests, permit requests for the Department of Energy, 20. There's only 3 or 4 of them that exist currently where they're gonna reverse. That costs about $2 billion to reverse it. To build them costs a lot more than that. So when I hear the funny story about America's Fuel, you just gotta Google that and go, why is there 20 LNG outbound, not inbound? We don't do inbound anymore. We don't even bring it in because of it. It's not staying here. None of it is. And Bruce is right. If it's our fuel, keep it here. And if we've overproduced because the price is low, shut the valves off until the price picks back up. I mean, that would benefit everybody in the area that has a lease. Turn the valves off, let the price come up, use up the resource, and they are 2 years or more away from doing 1 ounce of outbound. 2 years or more. So this whole rush right now is ridiculous. They ought to slow it down, find out if there's problems. While not even a moratorium, just the industry goes, hey, if the price goes up, they win too. So do the farmers. That's my problem is this price drops by just a few bucks a cubic foot. It costs millions of royalty dollars of royalty checks for the local economy. So it would help us to say, a Susquehanna County position is, hey, we love the gas industry, but can you slow it down a little bit, get our price back up, and then if you're gonna export it, let's use it all up here in the United States first before we start sending it to China and Russia.
Okay, well, just one thing, Craig, landowners, because there's a lot of land that's not owned by farmers.
Right.
Okay, and, you know, if people in Dimock and Springville want a water line out there, you know, I'd be in favor of that, but maybe perhaps you could do a survey to see how many people would be willing to hook up into a water line.
We're not going to Dimock.
Okay, because I was going to say, I would worry about the capacity of the lake, how, you know, how much water it could, if it was extended that far.
Finally,
Yeah, I'd like to say also that Pennsylvania Water did do a survey that the lake could handle Dimock, and there was no problem with it. And I'd like to know, what do you know about Leatherstocking? They claim that they're going to put gas lines maybe to the hospital or to the school. And do you know if that's been approved? And how much does it cost if they're going to be in, let's say, Montrose, and any of our boroughs, how much does it cost for each individual to hook into? Do you have any details on Leatherstocking and the school?
well, Leatherstocking right now is going from borough to borough where they're trying to set up and start working to notify the public. You know, no one's required to hook up. Their presentation shows that if you're burning propane or oil, that by converting, that you could save up to anywhere from 70 to 80% of your energy cost. One of Leatherstocking's claims is that what they're trying to do is use all local gas. They're not trying to use any interstate gas. And that's where the huge savings is. If you're not coming off the Tennessee Pipeline or the Millennium, you're not paying for the interstate costs on your gas that you're burning at your house. So they're trying to use off gathering lines that they can take it off the gathering lines and use it off that. It's all low pressure and it's under 120 pounds of PSI. It's all low pressure lines is what they use. And right now, their plan is their first stage is to supply the hospital and that area first. That's what their goal is, to start that this year. They've got layouts for the Lanesboro, Oakland, Montrose, Halsted, Great Bend, New Milford area as to projections there as to what they can do. It looks like it's going to be like probably about a 4 to 5 year project to get it into all the towns.
Now, has it been actually approved by the towns? Do you have to approve something like that, or can they just come in and do it?
We don't have to approve it because it's all low pressure, and they've already been approved by the PUC. They're good to go as a provider. So then it's just a matter of them being able to get enough people in each village that want to sign up in order to be cost effective for them to put it in.
And did they say how many they need as a minimum in each village to sign up? And then how much does it cost for each individual to hook in? Because I heard some like very high prices of thousands of dollars, anywhere from 10 to 20,000 to hook into the system and to reconvert. Have you heard any prices
No,
from them?
that's entirely not true. When I talked to Russ Miller, there is no huge tap-in fees.
Do you know what the tap-in fee is?
I don't know what it is. They have offered to even go one step farther and help people that are in need. They're trying to develop a program that, especially for the seniors, if they want to convert their homes, to try and find a way to help them with a conversion and amortize it across their bills so that they can do it.
Thank you.
Will that be eminent domain?
No, they can't use eminent domain.
If they're public utility, they
Yeah,
will.
no, it's not a FERC line, they can't use it.
So they have to get permission.
They have to
down
get
the road.
permission.
Perfect. As long as they're making it available locally, that would mean.
Right, and they're willing to work with local contractors and the homeowners, and, you know, if they get to, like, if your house is, say, a half a mile up a road, well, normally they wouldn't run the gas line a half a mile up your road, but if you wanted to get a contractor and run the gas line down to the road to them, then they'd work with you to get it put in, so that you could save money that way. So they're willing to work with people to try and make it work. It's just a way to try and take the local resource and keep it local and try to use it. which would be actually good here for what it costs to heat and cool this facility. We have a 90-year-old coal furnace that we're still using in one end of the building, so that we can't even get parts for. All right, okay, I have a motion to adjourn?
You got one.
Second, all in favor? Aye, we are adjourned.